Hey everyone, Zed40 here with something of a deviation from my normal content. Ordinarily, I make hardcore Nuzlocke videos, but I've been watching a lot of solo challenges, especially on channels like Jiro's 11s, and I thought it could be fun to do something similar. So today we're going to do a solo run of Cranidos in Pokemon Sun. Cranidos is a really interesting Pokemon with a massive attack stat, okay speed and HP for first form Pokemon, and not much else. It's got some solid moves early on, but a lot of its best moves like Earthquake, Swords Dance, and Stone Edge come from TMs. As a result, it's a great Pokemon to try out for my first solo run. I'm not planning to do this as a speedrun because frankly, I don't have the focus or time management skills to do that, but my goal is to keep it as low leveled as possible to maintain the challenge. To that end, I'll try to stick to minimum battles unless I need to level up to get past a roadblock, but I won't reset if an optional trainer spots me. Pokemon Sun is going to be interesting for this challenge. I was deciding between this and Platinum, which I believe are the hardest for Cranidos. I ultimately went for this one because I believe there are more potentially really big roadblocks throughout the game. In addition, the fact that Earthquake isn't accessible until the post-game means the best ground move I'll have to work with is Bulldoze. This seems like a pretty fair drawback considering how easily accessible Cranidos' best setup moves are, however. The other rules for this run are pretty simple. No other Pokemon in battle, and no items in battle, other than held items. Also, I want to apologize in advance because about halfway through, I turned off battle animations and forgot to turn them back on again. I'm really sorry about that, and I hope the quality doesn't suffer too much as a result. And with that, let's begin. Skipping the long way to picking my starter, I've replaced Litten with Cranidos. Keeping my promise from my last video, I nicknamed him Mr. Hate. He has a hasty nature, minus defense and plus speed, which I think is pretty solid. I later learned he has perfect HP and speed IVs. Defense and special IVs around 25, and attack and special attack IVs in the teens, which seems to me like it's pretty good. We see both sides of Cranidos in the first battle with Hao, as he takes out a Rowlet in 2 hits thanks to Headbutt, but also gets taken to just 5 HP from a single Leafage. Kukui shows us how to catch Pokemon even though this is the only one we need. We immediately lose our second battle with Hao. I hadn't gained any levels and Pichu outsped me to hit a charm before going down. I decide to get Mr. Hate up to level 6 and try again. Static still activates, so I think I need to be able to take it out in a single headbutt to reliably continue. I battle as many wild Pokemon as I can with my headbutt PP before trying again. I wound up losing again anyways, and just decide that this battle isn't one that I need to win, and I'm just gonna lose it so I can move on. I fast tracked to the trainer school, getting Mr. Hate to level 8 and the Quick Claw. But now it's time for our first actual roadblock. Teacher Emily and her Magnemite. Thundershock just has a much higher damage output, so I'm going to need some training. I need to get Mr. Hate to level 10 when he learns Pursuit, so that I can hit Magnemite neutrally and take it out in 3 turns, ideally getting a flinch in too. Then, so long as I don't flinch more than once on the Meowth, I should be good. I don't get the flinch on Magnemite, but my Quick Claw activates and I'm able to outspeed Meowth to get a second headbutt in for the win. I've spent about 2 hours in game so far, so this is definitely way more of a challenge than I thought it'd be. After crushing Team Skull, Ilima wants to test me out. This battle could be tough. Mr. Hate takes out his Yungoos with a Silk Scarf boosted headbutt after our first flinches. But Smeargle outspeeds and hits with Water Gun to bring Mr. Hate under half. A headbutt brings Smeargle to the red, but I'm pretty sure I'm toast now. But Ilima heals, letting me take it out with another headbutt. I can't complain about that luck for sure. I begin the first trial at level 11, but get to level 12 as I take out the non-totem Gumshoes. Everything here was a 2-hit KO, so is it enough? Not quite. I get a little unlucky because the ally Yungoos got a crit on Pursuit, but Headbutt was a 4-hit KO on the totem anyways. There's not really much I can do differently other than just getting to a higher level though, so I try again at level 14. The problem is that I need Headbutt to be 3 hits max so I can pivot to the Yungoos. On my successful attempt, I get a crit to take Gumshoes out on 2 hits. Yungoos hits Pursuit, but gets taken out in the 3rd hit. Well, at least that's done. I find Nebby, so it's time to battle Hao again. Even with a play nice, we can take Pikachu down in 2 hits. Rowlet is a little bulkier and hits a Growl, but we get a crit to get rid of it. I think it mattered, but we probably still would have won. It's time to fight Hala, and I'm really not sure how things will go. And the answer is not well. I started at level 16, but Mankey outsped and sent Mr. Hate to the red on first turn. We need to be able to consistently outspeed if we want to have a shot. I decided to aim for level 20. This is where I was finally able to outspeed Mankey. With that, the battle became way easier. I took out Mankey in a single hit, then flinched Crabrawler, preventing it from using the Z move it almost certainly would've, though I'm not sure it mattered long term. I took it out next turn and then got hit by Fake Out for the only damage Mr. Hate took this whole battle before getting rid of Makahita next turn for the win. One island down, and hopefully only a moderate amount of CTE in the process after all those headbutts. We bludgeon Dexio with some Thieves, and then make our way to Paniolo Town for our battle with Hal. I'm not too worried about him now, and this was a correct position because his Pikachu goes down in a headbutt. His Dartrix takes longer, but goes down in a bit after some leftovers recovery. The Gladion fight goes pretty much exactly the same way. I make it to the totem and immediately wipe. Wishy-Washy knocks Mr. Hate out with a single water gun after taking barely any damage with headbutt. I clearly need to get stronger if I'm going to do this. What level did I need to get Mr. Hate to? 33. At 33, I could use Thief to take off around a third before taking Wishy-Washy down with the chip away. This took a genuinely absurd amount of leveling, but there wasn't really much I could do. Water Gun was still doing between 2/3 and 4/5 of Mr. Hate's HP. In the battle I won, Wishy-Washy wound up using Soak instead anyways, but at least I know it would have been consistent. 2 chipaways took out the Alomomola after it did nothing. You gotta love the AI sometimes. Guess I'm just gonna be massively overleveled for a while. In Whale Volcano Park, Mr. Hate finally learns a stab move in Rock Tomb. And with that, I can take out Magmar and Alolan Marowak really easily in the Fire Trial. All that's left is the Totem, who also goes down in one hit. Glad we got a break from the hard battles, finally. My battle against Totem Lurantis also goes pretty well. I forgot to set up for its Power Herb, so I lost the first time, but the second is easy. I hit a Protect as it wastes its Power Herb, and calls Trumbeak. Then I alternate between Headbutt while it charges and Protect on Solar Blade turns to knock it out in 3 hits. Somehow dodging 3 consecutive Supersonics too, before taking out Trumbeak with a Rock Tomb. Koni doesn't have any TMs Mr. Hate can learn, but it does have the most important item of the run in an Eviolite. Now Mr. Hate will finally have some bulk. My fight with Plumeria isn't too bad, but her Golbat confuses Mr. Hate, who hurts himself. He snaps out next turn after a soft Air Cutter and takes it out in a single Rock Tomb. Salandit follows after it poisons him. Olivia is a challenge though. Thief is a 3 to 4 hit KO on her Nose Pass, and in my first battle, it paralyzes Mr. Hate. While we take it out in the end, we're totally frozen up and can't protect against Lycanroc's Z move. Guess we need to rethink. I'm pretty overleveled, so I don't want to grind much more. I try another 11 times, with each one either very apparently not working, like the set I tried with Hidden Power Grass, or just getting awful luck. Finally, I get a strategy together, but if I don't get it here, I'm gonna have to grind more. It requires me to get rid of Headbutt, so I'm excited to learn Zen Headbutt soon. But I'm sure Mr. Hate is pretty grateful to be at least temporarily free from head trauma. It's time for the battle. Nosepass paralyzes Mr. Hate, who begins a sequence of taking it down with Thieves. A third doesn't quite take it out, so Olivia super potions. I hit 2 more to get it to the L again before using Rest. Because of its bad Rock Slide luck before, I'm at lower health when I wake up than I was when I started. But now Mr. Hate is no longer paralyzed. One more Thief knocks it out. Lycanroc comes in, and I use Protect immediately to make sure its Z move does minimal damage. I hit it with a Thief, but I'm in range of a KO with another Rock Throw, so I rest again right after. I basically get into a rest loop as it wastes Rock Throw PP. Finally, it's down to the weaker Bite, and I work in a couple more Thieves to take it down after a while. It's just Boldore now, and I've never gotten this far. I got really lucky Lycanroc didn't crit. Thief does about a 5th, and I'm thinking I'll just risk a Mud Slap, but I forgot it had Rock Blast. Thankfully, it just hit twice, but that was scary. I'm really low on rest PP, but I gotta use another to heal. I try to protect whenever I can to stall Rock Blast, and I'm slowly chipping away at it, but it gets a huge Rock Blast sequence off, and I have to risk a KO to land another Thief. Thankfully, it hits exactly 3 times, leaving Mr. Hate with 7 HP. I use my last rest as it uses its last Rock Blast to bring Mr. Hate to the low yellow. I don't even know if this is doable. I need 3 Thieves to land at 20 HP. I hit my first to take it to the yellow. It uses Headbutt, which only does 9 damage. It uses Mud Slap, taking me to just 5 HP plus an accuracy drop. If I can hit this last Thief, I've won. And I do! That was excruciating, and it ended up being a bit of a nail-biter, but I'm glad it worked out in the end. I guess we're just back to the hard battles now. Predictably, my battle against Hao in Mali City goes horribly. Vaporeon just does too much damage for me when Rock Tomb only does half. Thankfully, I'm allowed to lose and progress. In Mali City, though, I'm finally able to get more TMs, including, most notably, Swords Dance, Rock Polish, and Bulldoze. I beat away some Team Skull grunts and get ready to face Mullane. Mullane is scarier than the trial to me because of his team's strong type advantage against mine. I go in and hit a crit smackdown on his Skarmory, taking a Metal Claw to lose about a third. Bulldoze brings him tantalizingly close, but no cigar. Mullane uses a Super Potion as I keep trying for Bulldoze, but the damage output isn't great. I'm finally able to take Skarmory out with Mr. Hate in the low yellow. Dugtrio is in now though, and immediately hits Metal Claw to knock out Mr. Hate. I was kinda an idiot here. I should have set up a Swords Dance first so I wouldn't have had as many opportunities for Mr. Hate to take damage. I try again, this time setting up a Swords Dance. Skarmory just uses Air Cutter, and then a Smackdown takes him to half as Air Cutter doesn't do anything. With the Bulldoze, he's gone. Dugtrio outspeeds to hit a hard Metal Claw, bringing Mr. Hate to the yellow, but a Bulldoze takes him out too, letting Mr. Hate level up and learn Zen Headbutt. Matang is last, and I just needed to not go for Bullet Punch. And it doesn't! We hit another Bulldoze and win! I can't believe we won so fast. I thought it would have been way worse, to be honest. I head right into the Electric Trial, and after dispatching the intro Pokemon with a Rock Tomb each, I head into the Totem Vikavolt. I outspeed it, and so I decide I'm just going to go full tilt with it. I'd equipped a Rockium Z and used Z Rock Tomb to take it out instantly. I know that's a little fast and loose with some rules, but I saw it as basically just a slightly better gem, which is considered, so I figured it's fine. Regardless, I'm glad it was a solid victory, all things considered. This Taurus is harassing Kukui, so we take him on. I get pretty unlucky my first attempt with Golisopod going for Swords Dance instead of First Impression and then missing Rock Tomb. But my second try, Rock Tomb hits, activating Emergency Exit. Cranidos goes out in a single Rock Tomb, and then, after an apparently needless Protect, another Rock Tomb brings down Golisopod. Tourists, right? Fast forwarding through a bunch of stuff faster than I thought I could, like seriously, only about 15 minutes. I reached the Thrifty Mega Mart for the Ghost Trial. Other than a hard Shadow Ball from the Gengar that shows up, the pre-totem Pokemon are a breeze. But now I'm dreading my fight with Mimikyu. I have one clear strength this run. Mr. Hate's Mold Breaker ability allows me to bypass Mimikyu's decoy. But it's so strong, and I'm not seeing a way to survive 2 Play Roughs at this level. I do a little more training and get Mr. Hate to level 43. Here, Payback is a comfortable 2-hit KO, and Play Rough is only arranged to be a 2-hit. I head in and get Mimikyu to just over half as it goes for Mimic for some reason. Then, after a Play Rough low rolls, Payback takes Mimikyu out. But I didn't account for the Gengar called Hypnotizing Mr. Hate. It stayed asleep as Gengar slowly picked it off with Shadow Balls. No! I realize this is actually super unreliable at this point, and without something more consistent, I'm not going to get very far. I decide to go up to level 45 and make my life easier by just going for Continental Crush. With a single one, Mimikyu's out after it wasted a turn with Mimic. Plumeria is pretty easy too. Golbat confuses Mr. Hate, and he hurts himself. But after a weak Poison Fang, he snaps out and Rock Tomb takes Golbat out. After a weak Flame Burst from Salazzle, a Bulldoze takes her out too. I get Sharpedo from Grimsley, and then head down to Melomelo Sea and get the TM for Rock Slide. This is going to be extremely useful down the road, especially because Mr. Hate can't learn it on his own. I need another Pokemon to enter the Team Skull compound, so I just go and catch a Yungoos and bring it into battle with me. I just have it use Tackle on the Haunter, but Mr. Hate takes it out first, so Yungoos gets a massive level up sequence. Thankfully, Drowsy knocks Yungoos out immediately anyways. The Guzma fight pretty much goes the exact same way as the first, with 2 protects and 3 rock slides to take his team out. Lily's been kidnapped, so Glidion's big mad. He wastes his energy by taking it out on me. It's pretty funny, honestly. I take his Golbat and Sneasel out in a single rock slide each, basically taking only Metal Claw in return. I then get a flinch on his type Null. One more takes it out. What a joke. Nanu is very much not, however. His team is really tough as we can't take Sableye out in a hit, and then get taken low with an Earthquake from Croc Rock. We eventually take both out, but get bludgeoned by Persian Z move. I get Mr. Hate a couple levels and some EVs, but nothing's really working. Finally, I get an idea. I replace a huge chunk of Mr. Hate's moveset with Swords Dance and Rock Polish. I think if I can set up enough, I can outspeed and take out Croc Rock in a hit, and then I can hopefully do the same with Persian. The strategy clearly doesn't work great the first time, and the second time I get an unlucky early special defense drop while setting up. I can't get one before my second setup move at least, or I won't even be able to take a fake out from Persian. After about an hour of trying, I finally get an attempt where I only get a special defense drop after I Rock Polish. This time I do a Rock Polish and 2 Swords Dances to make sure I can KO Persian. But I don't even know if I can outspeed. I take Sableye out with a Bulldoze, then Croc Rock with another, and then Persian comes out. Moment of truth. Bulldoze KOs! We finally won! This battle was really tricky though, and I've got to imagine the next section will be even harder. My battle against Faba confirms this, though this was mostly because I forgot to reset Mr. Hate's move pool. I work my way through Aether Paradise and get into a big double battle with Faba and Hal. Mr. Hate carries this battle though. He takes Ledion out with the Rock Slide, then uses a Swords Dance before taking out all of Faba's Pokemon with a single Rock Slide each. Much better this time, even if Hal didn't do anything. Guzma should be an easy matchup. I enter and protect immediately. Then, because I'm over-leveled, a Rock Slide blows through Golisopod. Another takes out Pinsir. We miss on Masquerain after it uses a Bug Buzz to take Mr. Hate to over half. Thankfully, no special defense drop. This is bad though, because it means Masquerain can take Mr. Hate to the red before he can finally take him out. Now in my eyes, there's a 1 in 3 chance Ariados doesn't outspeed to KO. But I apparently get that chance as a Rock Slide brings it down for the win! Thornier than I'd like, but not too bad in the end. I'm a little scared for my battle with Lusamine. Her team is probably the first thing that resembles a full team in this game. I go into Clefable and set up Swords Dance, taking a Moonblast in return that does a quarter, and gets a special attack drop. Not that it matters. I use another Swords Dance as it uses Metronome. And gets Flash Cannon! Ugh! Guess I can't keep setting up. A Rock Slide takes out Clefable, but then Lilligant outspeeds and paralyzes Mr. Hate. A Rock Slide takes it out too, but I'm pretty sure we've lost at this point. I still take out Milotic after it just goes for Safeguard, but then Beware is out. It uses a takedown for some reason, but Mr. Hate freezes up, and a Hammer Arm makes us lose. I'm about to reset, but apparently the game keeps going. There are too many battles in this game where you can just lose and progress, but I'll take it. I cackle every time I'm failing upwards, though. Upon getting to Pony Island, I gain access to the strongest non-recoil rock move I have access to in Stone Edge. I don't know if I'll use it considering the low PP and accuracy issues, but it's nice to have. Other than that, it's basically just a straight shot to my battle with Hapu. Team Skull does get in my way, but a Rock Slide takes out the first Grunt, a Bulldoze takes out the second Salandit, Zen Headbutt does the same with Haunter, and a Rock Slide does the same with Golbat. Raticate hits a couple sucker punches, but a Rock Slide and Bulldoze take it out. Marini goes down to a Bulldoze too. I'm scared of my fight against Hapu. Her whole team can do some serious damage against Mr. Hate. I decide to go in and scope her team out. Dugtrio outspeeds and KOs Mr. Hate before he can even attack. I may need to gain some levels here. I decide to try again at level 63 when Mr. Hate can outspeed Dugtrio if it's got no added EVs. Here Dugtrio still outspeeds, telling me I might need more levels, but it just sets up Sandstorm as Mr. Hate uses Swords Dance. After an Earthquake brings Mr. Hate to the red, Bulldoze gets rid of Dugtrio. Hapu sends in Mudsdale, but switches to Flygon as a crit Zen Headbutt takes it out. Mudsdale comes back in and we miss a Zen headbutt and it KOs with Earthquake. Ugh. I try again, and this time I get really lucky with flinches and knock out Dugtrio, Mudsdale, and Gastrodon, but Flygon still outspeeds and knocks me out. Back to the drawing board. I replaced Rock Slide with Rock Polish for this fight, but now I need Mudsdale to flinch. I also need Gastrodon to flinch, but I get up to level 70 to try and take it out with a hit so that I can have more consistency. After about a few dozen attempts, I realize this isn't quite enough. Mudsdale or Gastrodon can just do too much damage, and is too bulky to easily handle my available moveset. I go up to level 74. Here it starts like normal. I set up Rock Polish and Swords Dance as Dugtrio goes for Sandstorm and Earthquake. I notice Earthquake is only doing a little over half damage now, which is really useful. Bulldoze takes it out, and then a Zen Headbutt flinches Mudsdale. Nice! One more brings it back to the red after Hapu Hyper Potions, and then a final one can take it out. Next up is Gastrodon. I hit a Zen Headbutt, and it survives! Oh, I guess my calculation was off. It hits Muddy Water, sending Mr. Hate to 13 HP with an accuracy drop. This could get dicey. I really don't want to take any chances, so I go for Bulldoze to finish it off. Flygon's last, and I know I can take it out, I just need to hit. And I do for the win! I spent the better part of a week on this battle, and it was awful, and I can't even stress how happy I am to move on. This was rough for sure. Now I'll be deeply overleveled for a while though, so hopefully everything's a lot easier going forward. The final trial isn't too bad. Both of the first two Pokemon get taken down in a single Rock Slide and Zen Headbutt respectively. I do end up having to wipe on the Totem Battle because of a crit Sky Uppercut, but next time I anticipate a Protect and go for Swords Dance instead. Next turn I take it out with a Zen Headbutt as its ally uses Work Up. One more takes it down too. And now we're finally done with trials for the rest of the run. Lily and I play the flute so badly, we cause the fabric of the world to rip open. But here, I fight Lusamine for real. I use a Rock Polish and 2 Swords Dances. I get lucky because Clefable uses Metronome to get Stockpile, and then Mr. Hate survives a crit Moonblast in the yellow. But then Clefable survives Bulldoze. It thankfully just goes for Cosmic Power and I can take it out next turn. This tells me I need to use Zen Headbutt instead. I hit one to take out Lilligant, then another to get rid of Milotic. Then another to end Beware. Finally, one more sweeps Lusamine. Oh my god, that was so much easier than I thought it would be, and I'm pleasantly surprised it only took one try. Cranidos' setup moves are really starting to put in some serious work here. I learned from last time and catch Nebby immediately. I head right over to Gladion for our fight. Because Crobat can't hurt Mr. Hate other than through poison, I just use 2 Rock Polishes and 2 Sword Dances. I thankfully don't get poisoned in that process, and now it's go time. Zen Headbutt takes Crobat out. Then Bulldoze takes out Lucario and Weavile. I miss a Zen Headbutt on Silvally and uses Crush Claw to get the defense drop. Which is a little scary, but one more Zen Headbutt takes it out for a pretty chill fight. How is a little trickier, and after a few fights where Mr. Hate gets taken under half or eliminated with a Focus Blast, I decide to raise his level to 79 to see if I can make Focus Blast a 3-hit KO. But then, my first battle with Hao at that level, Focus Blast misses 3 times in a row. Okay, I set up a Rock Polish and 2 Swords Dances. Bulldoze then takes Raichu out, and Zen Headbutts finish off the rest of his team. Now, it's time for the league. I decide to start with Hala first, because he's the last time I need Zen Headbutt, I think. But I realize Close Combat takes Mr. Hate out, so I can't set up. Crabominable isn't even taken out with the Zen Headbutt when I do make it past Hariyama, so I've got to level up. I wind up getting to level 83 because 81 isn't giving me enough of an attack boost. I'm not sure if this is enough to take Crabominable out, so it's time to see. I protect on Hariyama and then take it out with a Zen Headbutt. Crabominable comes in and Zen Headbutt hits. Does it do enough? I guess I'll never know because it crits! Primate falls next. Beware isn't quite taken out, but he hits a Hammer Arm to bring Mr. Hate to the red. I go for a Zen Headbutt and think Hollow will heal, but he doesn't. And I can take Beware out too. But will Poliwrath fall? The answer is yes! A Zen Headbutt leaves it KO'd, and us with only 3 Elite Four members to go. I go for Kahili next, and finally replace Zen Headbutt with Rock Slide, saving what's left of Mr. Hate's concussion-riddled brain. I wound up winning on my first attempt, but my camera wasn't recording, so I reset for fairness. I set up a rock polish and a sword stance on Skarmory as it uses 2 steel wings to send Mr. Hate to the yellow. I use Rock Slide, and thank God I have Mold Breaker because it just bypasses Sturdy to let Skarmory faint. Other than the start of Beak Blast, Kahili's team can't really do anything the rest of the battle as I cruise to a win. 2 left. I go for Olivia next. This starts out fairly poorly as Bulldoze brings Relicanth to the yellow and it hits Yawn. Oh no. I've already resigned myself to a loss as I take out Relicanth and succumb to sleep. But Probopass just sets up Sandstorm. Next turn, Mr. Hate wakes up and bypasses Sturdy to take Probopass out with another Bulldoze. Thank God for Mold Breaker. I use a Sword Stance on Lycanroc as his Z move takes Mr. Hate just above half. I probably could have just protected there, but it's fine. With a Bulldoze, he's gone. One more takes out Carbink, and then a final gets rid of Alolan Golem for the win. It's just Acerola now. I'm a little worried about this one. There's not a great place to set up, and many of her Pokemon can use status moves or hit super effectively. Well, let's see what we can do. I replaced Protect with Rock Slide, so Sableye lightly hits with Fake Out. I don't even want to wait to see what it'll do next, and one Rock Slide gets rid of it. Delmise is next, and I take the chance to set up a Sword Stance, hoping it won't do too much damage with Energy Ball. It actually only does about a third. That was so clutch. One Rock Slide takes it out. Pilostan gets taken to the yellow with a Bulldoze, but it just uses Iron Defense in response. Phew. It looks like it might be a range now, but another Bulldoze knocks it out. Frostlass outspeeds to hit a Blizzard, but thankfully no freeze as Rock Slide takes it and Drifblim out for the win. We finally made it to the champion. Lycanroc doesn't have much that can seriously hurt Mr. Hate, so I just set up 3 Sword Stances as it misses 2 Stone Edges. I then click Bulldoze before I realize too late that it outspeeds me. Oh, this could be obnoxious. Thankfully Snorlax goes down in a single Rock Slide, and so does Primarina. Magnezone goes down to Bulldoze, but then Ninetales outspeeds me to hit a harder than I'd like Blizzard. But no freeze, and a Rock Slide ends her. Braviary is last, and with one final Rock Slide, we take him out for the win. We did it! I'm so happy! I finally let Mr. Hate evolve as a treat. This run was really interesting for me. I didn't know what to expect from this challenge, and parts of it, especially around Hapu and Hollow, were really hard. Overall, Cranidos' strength was really clear, but it struggled mightily, and with a fairly shallow move pool until it finally got access to some good setup moves. Then everything in general became much better. I think I probably could have had better strategies or finished at a lower level. Maybe future runs will be a bit smoother. As you can see here, I really didn't do the best job EV training either because I wanted to keep a low level cap. So, for example, Cranidos had way more special attack EVs than he probably should have, and that's something I can work on down the line. I had a ton of fun with this, and it was way more nerve-wracking than I thought it'd be. I'm not planning on doing a ton of these, but I might do a couple more here or there. In the meantime, it's going to be back to regular-ish Nuzlocke content. Let me know what you thought of this challenge. Please comment any ways you think I could have done better, or give any other suggestions. Also, if you're feeling up to it, like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at Ed40Plays. Catch you all next time!